Alright lads, so with yesterday's edition of the new attribute tree grounds, an event that you want to do daily, where upon defeating 500 enemies, we can obtain 240 crests of each type daily, and with the new weekly orders too, we're also now getting a tad bit more extra crests, with the idea to go through the attribute trees. And with that, if you've been doing your dailies every single day, you should now have officially finished the very first page. And to quickly recap what we have gotten thus far in the very first page, because when we have a look at page 2 in a second, it is quite different to what we did get in page 1, and it seems like the idea going into any new page in the future, because there will be multiple pages, each page will offer something maybe vastly different. In a way, we can never know what to expect going into that next page. But the very first page in total had 100 nodes, so in total, if you were able to complete it, your character's max level is now 300, which I think looks kind of cool. And because of this reason, I might be holding off upgrading my page 2, just for the idea to keep my characters at level 300. I might just stack up on a bunch of crests until I can maybe get my characters to 350, and then I'll invest into the second page, just for the visual aspect at the very least. In terms of stats though, we did get 300 stamina, 220 attack, focus, and also spiritual pressure, and also 75 defense. This is actually quite a decent amount of stats in all honesty, especially with the idea that there are going to be plenty more pages. We'll talk about that again in a minute. So these stats in total are just going to get further and further increased to the point that, yeah, in the future, I mean, kind of even now, to be fair, where one of the big reasons of getting a second duplicate or a first duplicate of any character was to unlock that second slot where you can then get the focus stat and guarantee yourself criticals. Of course, getting a second duplicate is still good. More focus means more critical damage. But we're kind of getting to the point, / already at that point, especially in Guild Quest with all these extra stats, where every character now is almost guaranteed to hit criticals, even at 1 out of 5. And while these stats weren't added to the base stat, it's still good nonetheless as an additional stat point, especially the attack and also spiritual pressure, because that is also affected by an SP boost, or an attack boost that most characters now do get. Well, more so SP boost, we haven't really had any new attack boost characters in quite some time. One of the things too that we also did unlock is more link slot levels and also transcendent slot levels. Only one for this page, but this now does allow to give your characters a tad bit more extra stats. And then in terms of existing skills, one thing to keep in mind with the attribute tree is that it is increases to already existing skills. So what we can see here is that we did get 12% more coin drop, crystal and draw drop, an extra 2% bruiser and berserker, but this is only to characters that already have these skills. Likewise with the soul traits, we got very similar stuff here, more coin drop, crystal and draw, berserker and bruiser, but that's only to characters that have these particular soul traits. So that was the very first page, and now let's have a look at the second page, which, first impression, it's not as good as the first page, I will be honest. Now, we will break down all the stats and the skills that we do get in a second, but what you're going to notice here is that we are kind of getting less stats. I think in total, there are only 3 SP stats, just looking at SP in particular, in total. And we're overall getting around 70 additional SP. So compared to the very first page where we got 220 spiritual pressure, this page is giving a tad bit less, only 70 spiritual pressure. One thing that you will also notice, very similar to page 1, is that we are getting 1 extra link slot level and also 1 extra transcendent slot level. So at this point, if they are going to keep it up but only giving us 1 level per page, we very well in the future might be going to page 10 to finish out this entire system. And at the same time, in a hypothetical future, our max character level might be 1000, which is kind of weird to look at in all honesty. I will be honest. I'm kind of here for it. This is definitely, again, as we've already stated multiple times, a long-term goal. And unless future pages increase the amount of link slot level or transcendence levels that we can get, at this point in time, it very well does look like that page 10 might be our final page. But the reason why I'm kind of saying this is like a filler page is because the skills, innate skills, and soul traits that are getting increased here are more so just based around resistances. So you're going to see here the very first note that you can unlock is a 10% poison resistance. To me right now, this one is kind of useless, because if you already have poison resistance as a skill, you already have 100%. And a 10% resistance on 100% isn't really doing anything for you. Now, status element plus does exist, and to be immune to a status element plus, let's use our skin for example, right, poison plus, you do need to have around a 200% immunity, so this extra 10% isn't really going to amount to anything. Maybe in the future, if we get enough of these skills, we might have a 200% resistance, and at that point, we would be immune to poison plus. But my thing is like no content in this game has you go against Status Element Plus. You're only seeing that in Brave Battles, and you're only seeing that in Arena. And as far as Brave Battles are concerned, if Caleb are to make a counter to someone like Arskin, they're going to be good against him regardless of this extra immunity that we are getting from this particular attribute tree. So I do find these ones a bit pointless in my opinion, at least when it comes to existing skills, because there are some other ones here. I think Caleb recently changed the icon, so we know if it's a skill increase, a soul trait increase, or an innate skill increase. So these white ones are actually soul trait increases, and what you are going to see here is very similar stuff. Resistances, but for soul traits. These ones I don't dislike. I like them more because every now and then, like with the most recent Kisuke, for example, we do get a soul trait that offers a resistance, but they only offer 55%. Now, I believe to be immune to a status element, let's say in Guild Quest, for example, I believe you need like an 80% resistance. So going back to Arskin as an example, right, I'm using him in Guild Quest right now as a team booster and also a normal attack damage unit. However, this character is not immune to weakening, which is the status element that we are seeing in this particular quest. For me to make him fully immune, I have to give him a bonus ability and use an accessory, or at the same time, I could use a link. However, unfortunately, at this point in time, there is no normal attack damage and also weaken resistance link. If there was, however, it's only given 55%. So in the future, if we continue to get more soul trait increases for resistances, we could be in a situation where I only have to use one link to give my character full immunity, without needing to give a bonus ability or an accessory to get as close to that max resistance. And if that's the case, it might add potentially more usage to links like this that offer recharge, normal attack damage, and also an immunity. One new thing that we are seeing in page 2 as well is a damage to status element skill increase. Right now it caps at 2%, and we do see a few of these throughout this particular page. And we're also seeing innate skill increases, in this case burn resistance, and a few other resistances too, and these go up to 10%. These ones are awfully specific though, I will be honest, because it's only to innate skills. So at this point, I can't even tell you what character this is affecting. But to recap the entire page, what you are going to unlock upon completing page 2 is 100 extra stamina, 70 additional attack, focus, and spiritual pressure, and also 25 more defense. In terms of skills, you're getting a 2% increase on Confuse, Poison, Paralysis, Weaken, and Frozen damage skills. Alongside that, you're getting a 10% increase on your resistance to Poison, Paralysis, Freeze, and also Weakening. Innate skills are seeing a 10% increase in resistance to Lacerate, Slow, Burn, and Drain. And then as far as soul traits are concerned, we're seeing a 1% increase to Burn, Freeze, Lacerate, and Drain damage, while at the same time we're seeing a 5% increase in the resistance to every existing status element that does have a resistant soul trait. The only status element here that is missed out is Dominate, but that does not exist as a soul trait. There's no soul trait that exists right now that gives you resistance to Dominate, likewise even damage to Dominate. Maybe in the future though. Also, at the same time, like we did mention, we're also getting one more level for Link slot levels and also Transcendence slot levels. And with the amount of nodes that we do have here, weirdly enough, there's not 100 nodes. So once you do finish this page, our characters are not going to be level 400. So maybe actually max level in the future might not be 1,000, assuming there are 10 pages, because it looks like each page is going to offer a different amount of levels. In total, there are 70 nodes here, so max level at the end of this will be 370. Now, in terms of how long it will take to finish this particular page, it is going to be very similar to the very first page, despite us now having a significant increase in the amount of crests that we do get daily. So in total, and I believe I did count it correctly, we're going to need 28,000 crests, 28,650 to be exact. And with the idea that we're getting 240 crests daily, every week we get an additional 400 of each type, it is going to take us once more around 3 or so months to finish the page if you are doing that new quest every single day. Obviously, during certain campaigns, we might get a few extra crests, and that might speed up the process a tad bit by a few days, maybe a week, but in general, it's going to take around 3 or so months to finish this page. And that's essentially page 2 in a nutshell. In terms of what we might get in future pages, like page 3 onwards, while this is confirmed, there is a chance it can show up because Moneyprim on Reddit did mention that in the game's files or in the game's database, there is tables now for potential SP and attack boost increases, and other skills like the Resonance skill, where if you have more Soripers or Espada, you could get more damage, and maybe even Team Party boosts will be getting further increase. So it does feel like every page is going to offer something different, and we now do have potential other good skills getting upgrade in the future in page 3, 4, 5 onwards. We have no idea, but I guess we will find out like 3 so much time what page 3 will offer once we do officially wrap up page 2. With that said though, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care and peace.